The United States could face a significant weather outbreak as powerful storms, tornadoes, and dangerous flooding become increasingly possible. Today's precipitation map shows that rainfall is concentrated in a few active regions across the United States, while much of the central part of the country remains dry. The most significant precipitation is occurring along the central Gulf Coast, especially near southern Louisiana and the Mississippi Gulf Coast, where a large area of moderate to heavy rain is producing intense downpours. Localized flooding of low-lying roads and poor visibility are possible in these areas. Across the Mid-Atlantic and Northeast, a narrow but intense band of rain stretches from the Washington, D.C. area through New York and into New England, bringing periods of heavy rain and isolated thunderstorms. Travel may become difficult due to reduced visibility and water on roadways. In the Southwest, including parts of Arizona, Utah, and Nevada, scattered light to moderate showers are developing, providing brief rainfall over normally dry terrain. Meanwhile, much of Texas, the Central Plains, the Midwest, and the interior Southeast are experiencing little or no precipitation today. Overall, rainfall is focused in specific corridors rather than affecting the entire country. Looking ahead over the next 3 days, there is an increasing risk that the Gulf Coast moisture and the eastern rain band could strengthen into a more organized storm system. If that occurs, heavy rainfall, flash flooding, and isolated severe thunderstorms could become a significant threat across parts of the Gulf Coast, Southeast, and Northeast. Residents should continue monitoring local forecasts and be ready for rapidly changing weather conditions. Today's wind map shows a mix of light and strong winds across the United States, with the most active conditions centered around the Great Lakes, the Northeast, and parts of the Gulf Coast. The strongest winds are currently found near Chicago, where speeds are reaching around 41 kilometers per hour, creating breezy conditions that may affect travel, especially for high-profile vehicles. Along the Northeast Corridor, including areas near New York and Washington, D.C., winds are also elevated, ranging between 33 and 39 kilometers per hour, producing gusty conditions along the Atlantic coast. Around the central Gulf Coast, particularly near the Florida Panhandle and coastal Alabama, winds remain moderately strong as tropical moisture circulates through the region. Across Minnesota, winds are lighter at around 13 kilometers per hour, while much of the Central Plains, including Texas and Oklahoma, is experiencing generally calm conditions with only light breezes. The western United States also remains relatively quiet, although localized afternoon gusts are possible across higher elevations in Utah, Nevada, and surrounding mountain areas. Overall, today's wind pattern is not extreme nationwide, but several regions are experiencing noticeable gusts. Looking ahead over the next 3 days, there is an increasing risk that a stronger wind field could develop across the Great Lakes, Northeast, and Gulf Coast. If this system intensifies, damaging wind gusts, hazardous boating conditions, isolated power outages, and travel disruptions could become possible. Residents should continue following local weather forecasts and stay prepared for rapidly changing wind conditions. Today's temperature map shows a sharp contrast across the United States, with the hottest conditions focused over the southern plains and Gulf Coast, while the northern states remain much cooler. Dallas is one of the hottest major cities today at around 34 degrees Celsius, with Houston near 31 degrees Celsius, creating hot and humid conditions across much of Texas. Along the Gulf Coast, including parts of Florida, temperatures are close to 29 degrees Celsius, producing warm weather with high humidity. Across the Southeast, including Atlanta, temperatures are around 25 degrees Celsius, making for a warm but more comfortable afternoon. In the Midwest, Chicago is near 20 degrees Celsius, while Minneapolis is around 16 degrees Celsius, bringing much cooler air compared to the southern states. The Northeast is also enjoying relatively mild temperatures, with Washington near 26 degrees Celsius, New York around 25 degrees Celsius, and Ottawa close to 20 degrees Celsius. In the western United States, temperatures remain moderate, with Los Angeles around 22 degrees Celsius, Salt Lake City near 23 degrees Celsius, and Seattle around 19 degrees Celsius. Overall, today's pattern highlights a classic summer temperature divide, with intense heat across the south and cooler conditions farther north. During the next 3 days, there is an increasing possibility that the southern heat dome could strengthen further. If this develops, dangerous heat indices, prolonged high temperatures, and an elevated risk of heat-related illnesses may affect parts of Texas, the Gulf Coast, and neighboring southern states. Residents should stay hydrated, avoid prolonged outdoor activity during peak afternoon hours, and closely monitor local weather updates. Today's humidity map shows the highest moisture levels concentrated across the Gulf Coast, southeast, and parts of the East Coast, while much drier air dominates the northern and western United States. The most humid conditions are found along the Texas Gulf Coast and Florida, where dew point values are reaching 24-25 degrees Celsius, creating very humid and tropical conditions. Residents in these areas can expect the air to feel sticky and uncomfortable, especially during the afternoon and evening hours. Across the southeast, including Atlanta, dew points remain high near 21 degrees Celsius, supporting muggy weather throughout the day. In the mid-Atlantic and Northeast, including Washington and New York, dew points range between 22 and 23 degrees Celsius, indicating humid conditions despite slightly cooler temperatures. Across Dallas, humidity remains elevated with a dew point near 22 degrees Celsius, while Chicago is considerably drier with a dew point around 15 degrees Celsius. Further north, Minneapolis has one of the lowest humidity readings at approximately 10 degrees Celsius, providing much more comfortable air. The western United States remains generally dry, with dew points around 17 to 19 degrees Celsius in many locations, making the air feel noticeably less humid than across the south. Overall, today's humidity pattern clearly favors tropical moisture across the southern and eastern United States. During the next 3 days, deep Gulf moisture could spread farther inland, significantly increasing the risk of oppressive humidity, dangerous heat index values, heavy rainfall, and strong thunderstorms across portions of the Gulf Coast, Southeast, and lower Mississippi Valley. Residents should stay hydrated, limit strenuous outdoor activities, and closely monitor local weather forecasts. Today's pressure map shows a broad area of relatively higher pressure across the western and northern United States, while lower pressure extends from the southern plains through the Midwest and into the Northeast, creating a more active weather pattern in the eastern half of the country. The highest pressure is centered near Minneapolis at around 1,019 megabytes, with Salt Lake City near 1,015 megabytes, and much of the western U.S. ranging between 1,013 and 1,016 megabytes, supporting generally stable atmospheric conditions. Across Dallas and Houston, pressure is lower at approximately 1,011 megabytes, indicating a more favorable environment for developing weather systems. The Southeast, including Atlanta, remains near 1,013 megabytes, representing moderate atmospheric stability. Along the Northeast, pressure falls sharply from 1,007 megabytes near Washington to 1,005 megabytes around New York, reaching its lowest value near Ottawa at about 998 megabytes. This strong pressure difference suggests more unsettled weather across the Great Lakes and Northeast today. Overall, pressure patterns indicate stable conditions across much of the West, but increasing atmospheric activity in the East. During the next 3 days, there is a growing possibility that the northeastern low-pressure system could deepen further. If this happens, strong thunderstorms, damaging wind gusts, periods of heavy rainfall, localized flash flooding, and travel disruptions could develop across portions of the Great Lakes, Mid-Atlantic, and Northeast. Residents should closely monitor official weather forecasts and remain prepared for rapidly changing weather conditions.